And welcome to Mediaverse Unwrapped, where we bring our non-toxic Facebook community of Marvel fans to life. I'm your host, Max Taff, and I'm joined by my co-host, the amazing Megan Spangler. This week, we discuss Jonathan Majors' arrest allegations, Zachary Levi's Shazam nervous breakdown continuation, Liv Tyler's Betty Ross returning to the MCU, and so much more. Let's jump in.
Before we begin today's top story, we want to give you a trigger warning to our listeners. Today, we will be discussing topics related to domestic violence. If you are sensitive to these topics, we encourage you to prioritize your mental health and skip the segment or listen with caution. For those who choose to continue listening, we want to remind you that you are not alone. If you or someone you know needs help, please seek support from a trusted friend, family member, or professional. And just so you know, Mediaverse Comics Unwrapped is here for you as well.
Always. Let's dive into our top story here. We are discussing Jonathan Majors' recent arrest, which has rocked the Marvel fan community to its core. Everybody's going nuts trying to figure out what's going to happen in the MCU. What did Jonathan Majors do? What are the circumstances? What actually happened? Everyone seems to have an opinion on this. Public response has been swift and severe. Tweets, comments, and reactions were divided into two opposing camps, both presenting somewhat problematic, all or nothing thinking. We're going to give you our own opinions. We're going to break this down. We're going to educate everyone on what the actual situation is. Let's dive into it. Megan, why don't you kick us off with talking about what exactly went down?
So, Jonathan Majors, he plays Kang in Quantumania. He was He Who Remains in Loki Season 1. We've discussed him in previous episodes. He was arrested over the weekend after an alleged domestic violence incident with a 30-year-old woman who we believe is his girlfriend, as per lawyers, who was heavily speculated to have been, there was a domestic dispute. That's what it's being said as. That's what it's being reported as. That's what he was arrested for. She was taken to the hospital for visible lacerations around her throat and her face. He was arrested of assault, strangulation, harassment. As of now, strangulation, that has been dropped. The other ones are pending.
That's a lot to swallow. I feel like from 1 week to the next, Jonathan Majors went from being the golden boy, everyone's hero. I mean, he just had Ant-Man come out, was successful. His performance has been revered by critics and fans alike. Everyone loved him as Kang. He has got upcoming Creed movie coming out. I believe he has another film coming out this year. What exactly happened? Why did Jonathan Majors fall from grace, or did he? We're going to discuss the exact circumstances of what went down from what's been revealed so far, and we are going to go through this and see exactly what is going on. So as Megan said, he was accused of strangulation and harassment. Strangulation charge has been dropped as of this point. He was released the next morning after this happened. And I'd just like to point out, he was the one that initially called 911 because his girlfriend, apparently according to reports, was having some sort of what some are calling a mental health episode. Megan, how do you feel just with the little information we've just discussed? How are you feeling so far with how things are going?
I think we've all had our mental breakdowns and health episodes, as they put it. But I've never caused visible lacerations on my own face and neck. And it's really hard to do it to your own neck. So far, from what we've been giving, it's not looking good. How do you feel about it?
So on one hand, you're absolutely correct. That is very suspicious and strange, the fact that she had lacerations already. I mean, obviously, without knowing anything else, we know there was some kind of a struggle, some kind of a physical altercation and a fight of some kind happened. I mean, to be lacerated is really not an easy thing to do, even from another person doing it to you. It's not like, you touch someone and their skin opens. So it's that right there is suspicious, and it's a little strange. The only thing that at this point, from what we've discussed, is the 911 call. Him calling 911 is kind of the only thing that's leading me to believe that maybe there's more to this story than we know. I mean, because obviously if he was the one, hurting her intentionally, why would he be the one calling 911? So right there, that kind of gives me a little bit of reasonable doubt, but let's see how this progresses. So moving on to like the next phase of what we wanted to talk about with this, we are talking about how his lawyers have released commentary and text messages associated with this case. So I'll start off by reading the initial comments made by his lawyer, Priya Chowdhury, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. She goes on to say initially, this is the initial response that she gave. Jonathan Majors is completely innocent and is provably the victim of an altercation with a woman he knows. We are quickly gathering and presenting evidence to the district attorney with the expectation that all charges will be dropped imminently. She went on to say that there is video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the episode, and most importantly, 2 written statements from the woman recanting these allegations. Megan, how do you feel about this just so far?
So far, I find it very odd that she says there's video footage, but it's been almost a week. We haven't seen anything. Which you'd think they would immediately put that out if it cleared them of everything. Also, if there's video footage, the cops have it. And those charges are still pending. So, something there's not right. I know it's innocent till proven guilty, but this does not look good for him.
No, there's definitely quite a bit of circumstantial evidence that we're reading about that definitely does not look good for Jonathan Majors. So, some text messages were recently released from Jonathan Majors' attorney. Megan, why don't you go ahead and read us just the main text that she sent?
So the alleged victim, her text, she texts a lot. So the first one tells us the most, I think. So it says, "Please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said that they have had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did. I'm so sorry you're in this position. We will make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Please call me when you're out. I love you."
All right, well let's start by analyzing that first. She starts off strong. She talks about how she assured that they assured her that he won't be charged, that they said they had to arrest him because of protocol. From what I personally know about like different laws in different states and of the United States and different cities and all that, I know that there are certain instances where if cops are seeing certain telltale signs of like abuse or of some kind of struggle or anything, they are required to act. And even if they don't have all the evidence, even if the evidence is circumstantial at best, if it ticks a few of those boxes they're trained to look for, they have to make an arrest. Because I think in a way it's to cover themselves in the event that, let's say they're just like, oh, okay, you guys can figure it out, and they leave, and then something happens even worse, they can't be held liable. So they just,
Yeah.
you know, arrest first, ask the questions later, which depending on the situation isn't always the best approach. But I guess in a situation like this, in a domestic violence dispute, I think it is probably the wisest thing to do for a cop. So I do understand
Absolutely.
why they arrested him. It is a protocol. It is, something they're required to do. I mean, what do you think, Megan?
Before we talked about it, I was like, that's such a dumb rule. Why would you go and just, you don't even know he did anything. But like the way you put it, it's like, yeah, no, I'm fully on board with this because there has been too many situations where the cops didn't do enough because he said, she said, everything's okay. The victim said she's fine. And then worse things happen to that victim. So it makes sense. Just because he's a celebrity does not mean they should take it easy on him. They should treat him exactly like everyone else.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I've just seen things on the news in the past, various different things where if the cops had made an arrest sooner, things would have turned out differently for the victims. So maybe in a way, we're grateful that the cops are doing their jobs and making sure that all their bases are covered just in case. However, I will say, I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna get into personal like thoughts in a little bit, but let's go ahead and finish just the rest of the text message and let's dive into the next part here.
I guess that brings us to our
Special
announcements.
breaking news.
Special breaking news. Thank you for listening this long because you got to the exciting part of it. But it was all exciting, but this is very exciting for everyone around us. So we have a contest happening. It's our first podcast contest. And it's so simple to win. There's nothing big about it. All you have to do is listen to our next podcast episode. Not this one. Podcast next one, number 5. Lucky number 5 to hear for a keyword. When you hear that keyword, the first thing you do is go message it to the inbox at Mediaverse Plus, our page, Mediaverse Plus, and then your name is entered
to win some exciting prizes that we will announce in the group. So stay tuned for that. And big announcements coming all this week. So we are really excited. Our first ever giveaway contest, and we can't wait. So we are so excited. And we can't wait to give you guys some stuff. I mean, why not? That's always fun, right? Getting free stuff is great.
It's like my favorite thing to do. We don't get to do it often because, money. But it's just so fun. It's so exciting. Giving is so much more fun than getting.
Of course, absolutely. And so stay tuned for some more concrete announcements to be made in our group, Mediaverse Comics Unwrapped, for a chance to win. So,
hey, we need to interrupt our podcast for a quick moment.
That's right. We just wanted to let you know that your Facebook preview is over.
If you want to keep listening to our conversation and want to continue watching the entire episode
and show us some support, you can watch the full episode for free on Spotify.
We've included a link to the full episode in the description.
Just click on the link and it will take you directly to the full episode.
By watching the full episode on Spotify, you're supporting us and helping us continue to create content that you enjoy.
So go ahead and click that link in the description to keep watching and supporting us. Thanks for listening.